Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to your favorite podcast where we give you information that is up to date, up to speed, so that you can help yourself decide for the best interest of your business or any business that you may be willing to partake of. And we give you that information as fast as it happens. And we have a lot of information that we need to share with you. So make sure that you're subscribed to this podcast and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss out on any episode. Jerry, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great.
I'm fine. How was it, Steve?
I'm well. Are you excited for ZITF? It's just about the corner. Are you excited?
Super excited. But it's always an issue of other companies going to Bulawayo to look for business from Harare companies.
Say that again.
I'm saying it's an event whereby Harare companies, they leave Harare to meet in Bulawayo to look for business from Harare companies. So you'll be like, takasangana ubare shamari, but takasangana ZITF nipe card. It'll be like, so I'm like, I think it speaks about where our country is and what went wrong in terms of us, because when I was looking at other countries, you look at South Africa, you look at Botswana, you look at Zambia, it sounds like everything is happening in one city. If you look at Zambia, we've got Lusaka, we've got Kitwe, we've got Ndola, we've got what do you call this? The city which is Livingstone. Those are economic hubs, and someone from Kitwe can live in Kitwe without
ever visit
Lusaka, because they've got everything in that city. But as Zimbabweans now, I think we've got whereby we've because remember, Bulawayo used to be the industrial hub of Zimbabwe. I guess that's why even ZITF was actually is in Bulawayo. But right now, is it still an industrial hub? That's why this joke now whereby we're saying it's Harare companies meeting in Bulawayo. And I don't deny that, because looking at most of the Bulawayo companies, the companies you find founded in Bulawayo, most of the times they will notice that no, we cannot make it if we don't involve Harare. I met this other, it's Omega Industrial, if the name is correct. This guy was actually saying, yes, I'm manufacturing rubber. They manufacture rubber. I was shocked that in Zimbabwe, we've got companies which can even manufacture rubber. But this company now is saying 90-something% of my customers are coming from Harare.
So maybe looking into the positioning of that business, can we say it's positioned?
He was actually saying, I now need to move into Harare. Because that's where all my customers are, and it's the surrounding areas, because it's also servicing mines. So how can our authorities, or how can we, because we cannot always put the responsibility on the government. We can always not put the blame on the government. How can us, especially we are players, we are consultants, we are business consultants, how can we help our city of Bulawayo and decentralize business to also say Bulawayo can be an industrial hub again? I think it was in Tutuziatunga, if you can actually correct us.
Yeah, I remember.
I think it's the smoke.
Yeah,
they used to think I think that was the meaning. Yeah. But that we would say now is it still in Tutuziatunga?
I don't think so. That is.
And how can we have back again in Bulawayo?
So, well, in my opinion, I would like to believe that the problem, like you have said, if you look at the example of Zambia, there is equal distribution of service centers, both critical and essential, and the non-essential. They are evenly distributed such that you can exist in one city and never visit the other city. But then if you look at the construct of Zimbabwe, you realize that we have offices, important offices, key offices, the registrar of companies' deeds and everything else is situated.
It's also there in Bulawayo.
Do they
They've got registrar, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, that's interesting.
But unfortunately, because of our manual system, which is another story of the day, whereby every government department, it's manual. So when you're registering a company in Bulawayo, you have to register it. Here, you have to have two sets of documents. One for yourself and one for the registrar to keep in his file. And in Bulawayo, you need three. one for Harare, one for Bulawayo, and one for the customer.
So yeah, you see now, for the sake of the centralization that is happening in Harare, that is in Harare,
Yeah.
you realize that businesses are naturally going to gravitate towards where all those centers are available conveniently. So that if they ever want to do any paperwork, they can easily walk out of their office without necessarily contacting a courier service, which take 3 days to deliver the papers, but then you've got tight deadlines.
I met a company in Bulawayo, a big company, and Jerry, we like your books, we like your training, we like everything, but decision has to be done in Harare. So it's like it's the story with each and every company which is in Bulawayo. There's no decentralization. All the decisions are still being done in what?
In Harare.
What can we do now as Zimbabweans? Because we are disadvantaging our second city, and we ended up, I think, even right now in Bulawayo, very cheap because the industrial space has been deserted.
And I also heard that they're opening churches in what was factory space.
Exactly. And it's a sad story for us. It's a sad story because it's a sad story for Zimbabwe as a whole. I don't know how you actually understand the laws of devolution. How is devolution going to help resources being distributed equally in cities? Like right now, we all come from Tari. That's our home, our home city.
What's home?
Yeah, Pillbox or Tsomba, that's where we all came from. But we're talking from Mutare. I've never remember dealing with the Mutare business. Do we even have businesses which are existing in Mutare? Is that only Bulawayo? Do we have? Yes, we've got businesses which are there. And if even when we're looking at popular businesses, we're going to say, please give us 10 businesses which you know in Zimbabwe. Don't mention another company.
Yeah, true. That's very true. And the businesses that exist in Mutare and Bulawayo, like you're saying, they are originally from Harare, and then they open an office for convenience. But that office does not have any decision-making powers. Yeah.
But doesn't mean that in other cities people are not doing things. Like, I think it was Shawane, the sport. Big business. It's a big business. But you're saying, how are we treating this business to be on air? We can look at Gweru, the Zimbabwe. Shout out to Dr. Manzungu, the Zimbabwe. It's a big company, by the way. But we're saying, are we valuing that we've got Shisham in Gweru? Do we see Shisham as a Zimbabwean company, or it's a Gweru company?
Yeah, more likely
it's a Gweru-based company.
Yeah. And it really cascades down to service the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Do you know that sometimes you can get to certain cities and there are excellent restaurants that serve good food. And you wonder how come they are not interpolating that business model in other cities and other towns because they've got excellent product or excellent service. But well, it's a sad story.
It's a sad story, but we need to tackle it because end of the day, we've got a country to build, and I believe that we cannot build Zimbabwe without Bulawayo. We cannot build Zimbabwe without Masvingo. We cannot build Zimbabwe without Karoi. So if Karoi is going to develop to have a town status or a city status, it means that our country is growing. But if you continuously expand in Harare like what we are now having to have, we've got our Mapazua, we've got our Madokero, we need to travel at home. Sometimes you now have to move 25 kilometers for you to get to. That's where houses are now. Even industrial parks, we now have our Sunway City that side. But are all our towns or our cities growing at the same rate?
No, they are not. In fact, if we want to bring into perspective, is the residential spaces that are growing, but there is still heavy dependence on Harare. That's why you find that Chitungiza was awarded a city status, but they still travel. They cross that river and
every day
to come to Harare.
Not on.
Yes, and even where we stay, we live across town. It's not even Harare.
Not even Harare.
But we still come here to
Harare.
So yeah, not on. They still come wherever they're coming from to Harare. But well, we need to talk about the ZITF.
Yeah.
Do stand by and catch us as we delve deeper into the ZITF issue after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. If you haven't subscribed, honestly, what do we need to do for you to subscribe? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell should be turned on so that when we upload new content, you never miss out. Now, Jerry, let's go back to the ZITF issue.
Yeah.
And we were talking about decentralization and how ZITF, there's a colleague of mine. We were talking this other day and we were just trying to balance out the trade deficit issues between Harare and Bulawayo, the major cities of Zimbabwe. And he was saying Bulawayo has always been second to Harare. And because of the tribal issues between the Mashona and the Ndebele, it was always a case of what you do for the Mashonas needs to be replicated in Bulawayo. So he was saying the father of them all is the Harare Agricultural Show. I remember, I think the last year's edition, it actually turned 100-something years old.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the ZITF, it was more like they were trying to compensate for the existence of the Harare Agricultural Show, but its absence in Bulawayo.
Yeah.
So they created the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, and it's hosted in Bulawayo.
Yeah.
It would have made sense if it was hosted in Harare because of the international airport, the convenience, many hotels for all those who be traveling to.
Yeah.
So they had to put it in Bulawayo to make sure that Bulawayo is also included in the economic facets of Zimbabwe.
Exactly.
So if you look at such statements, you begin to see that are we really decentralizing, or we are doing it for the sake
Just to balance
appearance,
the appearance.
the facade.
Now more like
Yeah.
political.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but what I think is there's nothing wrong hosting those. I think it's also happening in Zambia, the same issue. The Zambian International Trade Fair is hosted in Dola, not in Lusaka.
That's interesting.
I think it's a similar concept. Probably they also need to also expose other cities, but I believe that if the more we are going to, because if you look at on the international level, look at Beijing, look at Shanghai, it's almost, they're all big, they're all doing very well. If you look at London, Manchester, etc., they're all doing very well at the same time. So until I think we can distribute all these resources, there's nothing wrong. I'll be actually even at ZITF, and let us meet at the ZITF, and I can even sign your book. We can also meet and talk business, talk more, discuss more about these things. But what we're saying is, how even, yes, it's a good idea. Yes, it's okay. Yes, it's okay to decentralize. But maybe, I just wanted to ask you a question. How can someone benefit from being at the ZITF?
Well,
what are the benefits which I'm going to get? Because there's an entrepreneur who is out there. And remember, Zimbabwe is full of small entrepreneurs. And she's saying, but I can access these customers online. What's the difference of attending ZITF for the whole week, engaging a lot of people? What's the advantages?
okay, so what happens with ZITF and that entrepreneur with things just be hanging around online and posting adverts and social media posts is enough. So you realize that when you're on social media, the first thing that I want to pick from there is that you're competing with a lot of unnecessary competition. The socialites were doing lives, insulting each other, bringing about
Shadai will be posting.
Shadai will also be posting, So your little advert for your small business is competing with Shadai's content, Mighty, Madam Boss, and all the other socialites.
International.
Yeah. But then if you look at ZITF, it's a concentrated space of entrepreneurial energy. Where
In
people,
real companies.
yeah, they are exhibiting. You actually have a nice stand where you put your products and your services. And there's also the liberty for your customers to ask you questions. And you can actually do product demonstrations. I would guarantee you this. No one will ever sit to watch a product demonstration on social media unless if they want to buy a product.
No.
But if you look at a ZITF stand,
Because that's,
you can explain this is what we do, it works this way, and people can ask you questions. They can even share their concerns with you. You can physically see their facial expressions, say this person is in doubt.
in doubt.
And then you can ask them, say, oh ma'am, why does it seem like you're expressing doubt towards my product? What is it about the information about my product that is unsettling to you? And then you can iron out those things. And above all, you've got the ability to network with other businesses. Some people think that if you are in business, you need to frown at your competition. No, you can always grab and leave from your competition.
Yeah.
So if you are by this stand, and usually I like the way ZITF is arranged. If you notice that they put similar products in, when you get to a segment, it's not mixed.
Is that me?
When you get to agricultural products, they've got their
Radio stations.
radio stations, media houses, your fashion and whatever. Everything is it's by segments, by sections. So whatever business you are in, you are put in your industry, the people you're competing with, and you can always see how they're doing, how they're handling their stand, and you can also check out their products. And even if you have questions pertaining to how you are selling other products, you know that sometimes you could be having a problem selling a certain product or providing a certain service, and you're not sure how to go around it. Maybe say it's a resistance that you're facing with the market. Their excuses. You can just go and ask them, how are you dealing with this excuse? They will tell you, I know we've had that excuse given to us a long back, a time ago, but we did A, B, C, and D to maneuver around it.
That's true.
And that's the beauty of ZITF. And I'm encouraging every entrepreneur, every business to show up, pitch up at the ZITF, get a stand, inquire with the ZITF committee how it all works, and make sure that you get a stand by the ZITF.
Okay, thank you so much. So, like what Steve is actually saying to say, I would just want to add on that to say probably yes, when you visit out there, networking is very, very important. And at least if you meet out there, because even if you meet a CEO at ZTF, you'll be they're not probably dressed in suits, they're not in their offices, they're not in their territory. You can easily, people will be mixing and mingling. I guess even the president is going to be attending. I don't know who is officially opening the ZITF this year, but I guess you'll be also, even if there's another president coming, you'll be also available. So meeting him, meet and greet, vice president, etc. All the authorities will be in ZITF, and it's a nice exposure. And you're also meeting people like what you're saying. And I guess in business, there's nothing which can beat face-to-face.
Yeah, face-to-face conversation.
Face-to-face actually remains
most effective
best because you can establish a relationship.
And I also think that's why our generation and going beyond, we don't have troubles with Mujolo. Because our dating phases, we would meet the girls face to face.
Exactly.
They're not meeting girls. Online. So yeah, to think there's an entrepreneur who's making a killing from connecting people through a platform called, what's its name? Tinder.
That's why Christian is our videographer.
So yeah, let's view ZITF as the Tinder for businesses.
Tinder for business, where you can meet physically. Yes, you're meeting your customer on Facebook, but it's now time to go and meet your customer. Seeing the product, you can meet, you can mingle, we can mix, you can joke, we can laugh, you can share food. There will be a lot of brides probably from organizations. And most of these associations will be also there, ZNCC, Mega Fest, etc. They'll be also there.
And also, there's another thing that I noticed from these conventions and trade fairs. Do you know that if somebody wants to see you, because you're an executive of M&J, you're not going to entertain anyone? Because if you did that, you would barely have time to work. Everyone will be done to basa.
Exactly.
Can I supply you? Can you whatever?
Yeah.
So you are less friendly when you are here, but you're more friendly when you are by ZITF. Because you are trying to portray a good image for your business. And also, because of the face-to-face interactions, it's difficult for you to block someone when they can literally see that Jerry is
And by the way, people might think that we are actually bought by ZITF to advertise on their behalf. But we're not saying ZITF only. We're also encouraging you to go on IFA, any networking events, and even I think I wrote about it in my book to even say it's called network prospecting. Whereby we're saying each and every event, even the guys, I think I've once said, even the bars, get into a bar, don't drink beer only, find a business card, find a colleague. That's where your next business is going to come from.
That's very true.
Even when you're going to church, don't just go to church, get a client, get a message, who knows, we can get a colleague. You don't know what they're going to give you next.
Absolutely. And also shout out to the Institute of Entrepreneurs Zimbabwe by Dr. Weri. I think they also need to, those are some of the platforms that people need to leverage off and be part of because they can give you that exposure from extensive networks. Yeah, but for now we have the ZITF, and also the ZITF comes in the month of our independence as Zimbabwe. So it's also a good time to also reflect. If you look at the businesses that are there, the nature of businesses there, it's also an indication of where we are coming from and where we are going. There are companies.
Just a question before we close it. What does independence mean?
Can we talk?
I'll put you on the spotlight.
Okay, so when we talk about independence, to me, this is what independence means to me. We are talking about freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of engagement, freedom of speech without any fear of intimidation afterwards. That's what I reflect upon when we talk about independence. I was not born yet when those things were happening, but I was once upon told that that very street we now sell maize, shoes, Seychelles First Street.
It was prohibited.
It was prohibited. It was only a whites only people. And somebody even told me that that's why the design of the First Street in Harare does not have any roads for cars to drive through, because it was a space for white people to just queue and hang out.
Yeah, to me, independence, I feel like until we have economic emancipation, like if we're not emancipated economically, I don't believe we've got independence.
Okay.
I think we're still dependent on the foreign countries. We're not yet emancipated economically until we take our economy and start controlling our destiny, utilizing our resources. And probably when we are mining gold, we actually we can have our jewelry in Africa. We can have our jewelry in Zimbabwe. If we can farm our products, our flowers, utilize them in Zimbabwe. We can farm even wheat, etc. And our medicine is created in Zimbabwe, not in India. I think by then, that's when you're going to say we've got independence. Because I believe that when we are not independent when someone can say, when you actually say, probably, can you say you're emancipated? You are renting at someone's place. And if you just make noise, then the landlord says, shh. Yeah, if you continue making noise, I'll throw you out. So that's what is happening right now.
Increase the rent.
When you make noise, as a country like Zimbabwe, the bullies will be just saying, the international players will be like, okay, we can cut our US dollar, we can cut our fuel, we can cut our what. So I believe we are not self-sufficient. Until we are self-sufficient as Africans, we see each other as brothers and sisters, not as competitors. I believe also that these borders, they were imposed to us by the colonizer. They should be removed economically through Africa, like what we were talking about in the previous episode. So that, to me, that's independence.
That's very interesting. You touched on a matter that is in my heart, but for the sake of wrapping up this podcast, let's talk about it in the next episode. You can let us know what independence means to you in the comment section, and do remember to subscribe, share the video with your friends so that they can also partake of this content, and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss out on any videos that we upload. Otherwise, from me to you,
bye for now.